All right, let's jump right in. When you're thinking about getting a patent, your brain is probably buzzing about the big idea, right? The groundbreaking tech, the killer claims. But what if I told you one of the biggest things that trips people up, something that causes massive delays is, well, it's the drawings. So think about it for a second. What's one of the most common, most frustrating reasons a startup's patent application just gets stuck? It's not usually about how brilliant the invention is. It's something much, much smaller. Yep, a single line, a reference number that's off by one digit, some shading that a designer added to make it look nice. These tiny, and I mean tiny, details in your patent drawings can get you a flat-out rejection, pushing your timeline back by weeks, sometimes even months. It's wild. So in this explainer, we're going to break down why this happens and, more importantly, how you can avoid it. We'll talk about the surprise of getting that rejection. We'll get inside an examiner's head, cover the most common slip-ups, look at the real impact on your business, and then lay out a clear path to getting that approval. Okay, first up, the surprise rejection problem. For so many founders, the drawings feel like the easy part, almost an afterthought. But that's why there's such a hidden trap. It all boils down to a huge misunderstanding of what a patent drawing even is. And this slide really says it all. There is a massive disconnect here. As a founder, you see a drawing as a way to show your idea, right? Like a sketch for a pitch deck. But a patent examiner, they see a legal document. To them, it is not a picture, it's evidence. And that evidence demands absolute, unwavering precision. Which leads us straight into the examiner's mindset. You know, when you get a rejection over something that looks like a typo, it can feel personal, like they're just being difficult. But it's not. It's purely about legal standards and preventing problems down the road. This quote just nails it. Every single line, every number, every bit of shading on that drawing is being looked at like it's testimony in a courtroom. The examiner's whole job is to make sure this visual evidence is perfect and leave zero room for interpretation. So the key principle here is something called absolute clarity. And what that really means is the examiner is forbidden from guessing. They can't assume what a line means. They can't just figure, oh, that's probably a typo, because any tiny bit of confusion today could explode into a huge legal battle years from now. So they have to reject it. Okay, so keeping that strict mindset in view, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are the most common mistakes people make? These are the tiny errors that have these huge, frustrating consequences. First up, and this one is a classic, inconsistent reference numbers. It feels like a simple typo, a clerical error, but in the patent world, nope, it's a critical flaw. So for example, maybe in one drawing a component is labeled 32, but in the written part you call it 32 prime. Or even worse, the same part has two completely different numbers in two different drawings. To you, it's a simple mistake. To the examiner, it's a contradiction. It forces them to wonder, are these the same part or not? And remember, they can't guess. The whole thing gets undermined. The second big mistake is all about the visual language, the actual lines and shading you use. What a designer sees as just, an aesthetic choice, an examiner reads as cold, hard, technical data. See, patent drawings have their own grammar. A dash line, for example, has a specific legal meaning. It means something is hidden, or maybe it's not part of the main invention. Certain types of shading can imply a specific material, like metal or glass. If your drawing uses these visual cues but your text doesn't back it up, you've just created a conflict. The drawing is literally introducing new information, and that's an automatic rejection. And the third major mistake is, well, it's just not showing enough. You could describe your invention with the most beautiful prose in the world, but if the pictures aren't all there, it's a problem. The rule is really simple. The invention must be illustrated. If you're describing some complex gear system on the inside, the examiner needs to see a cutaway view. If you're describing the shape, they need top, side, and front views. Your words aren't enough. They have to be able to look at the drawings and visually confirm everything you've claimed. Okay, so we've seen the mistakes, but let's get real. Why does this actually matter? Because this is so much more than a paperwork headache. A drawing rejection can have a very real and very painful impact on your startup. One little rejection starts this awful chain reaction. First, you get the official notice. Then your team has to scramble to fix everything and resubmit it. And then you go right back to the end of the line for the examiner to look at it all over again. Every single loop of this cycle can burn weeks, if not months of time that you just don't have. And that delay creates ripples across your entire business.
That patent pending status is huge for investors and partners. When the process stalls, fundraising talks can get quiet, potential deals get put on ice, and all the while, your competitors are out there, moving fast, with more time to maybe even file something that could cause you problems.
So, how do we avoid this whole mess? The answer is to completely shift your mindset. You've got to stop reacting to problems and start being proactive to prevent them from ever happening in the first place. Let's just compare the two approaches. The old reactive way is full of manual drafting, hiring illustrators who don't know patent law, and then endless painful rounds of edits. The proactive preventative way uses a unified system, has automated checks, and makes sure your drawings and your text are perfectly in sync from day one. I love this way of thinking about it, especially for anyone coming from a tech background. Treat your patent drawings with the same respect you give your code. You'd never ship buggy code, right? So don't file buggy drawings. It's the exact same discipline. Build it right from the beginning. So here's your game plan, your proactive playbook. First, make sure your drawings and your text are created together, in lockstep. Next, treat every single line as a piece of data you have to be able to defend with words. Standardize your style so it's consistent, and this is a big one. Use tools that can automatically check for these common mistakes before you file. Because at the end of the day, clean drawings aren't just about jumping through some bureaucratic hoop. They create confidence with the patent office, with your investors, with your partners. They protect your timeline, which is one of your most precious assets. And they build real solid business value by making sure your patent is strong. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a hard look at your own process right now. Is it built to get ahead of these problems, to prevent delays from the start? Or is it set up to just react when things go wrong? Seriously, the answer to that could make all the difference for your IP strategy.